everyone, I just want to take a minute, so sit right there. I want to go over something that I've discovered since doing my Urban Decay Discontinuing the Naked palette video where I talked about my conspiracy theories. I have found what I believe to be the Naked Cherry palette. So a lot of people were really interested in these trademarks and what sort of palettes or products would look like post the discontinuation of the Naked palette. So I was initially tipped off by a user in the comments who goes by Average Everyday People, who mentioned that she had seen the palette already and she actually had a whole list of the eyeshadows. And she mentioned that she had seen it because some retailers in Thailand were already posting pictures of it. So I had to go do some digging to find pictures of this palette myself. I found them. I found pictures of what the palette looks like. I found pictures of the boxes. I found the descriptions. It looks legit, and it looks to be coming our way a lot sooner than maybe we all thought. So if you don't want to see what the palette looks like, now is your time to leave, but I'm going to go through everything that I've found and why I think it's legit, and just discuss a little bit about what I think about this palette post Naked. So this is a picture of the outside of the palette and the box that it came in. It's very Urban Decay. It really reminds me of the Naked Heat palette. They're sort of upgrading the Naked palettes a little bit. The shadows on the outside of the box with the different colored cherries. Very, very Urban Decay. It looks like your standard sized Naked palette. It has the embossed font on it. So I found pictures of the other side of the box as well. So before I actually show pictures of the palette, I'm just going to go over the other side of the box because I managed to zoom in on the pictures and I found what it says on the back. Now it also comes with a double-ended brush, again very standard for Urban Decay. And again, this is not confirmed. This is just what I found on these various sites, and I will make sure that everything's credited in my screen caps because I found everything mostly from Instagram pages and then one thing from Twitter. So on the back of the box it says that Naked Cherry is ripe for the picking with 12 all-new sweet and tart cherry-hued shades, including shimmery pinks, warm peaches, and deep burgundies. From Bang Bang, a soft micro sparkle pink, our go-to highlight shade, to Ambitious, a deep metallic copper, our new favorite, and Drunk Dial, our weekend obsession. This forbidden fruit has everything you need to create ethereal daytime looks to wildly seductive, smoky eyes. With Cherry's fresh vibe, it feels like we're getting naked again for the very first time. So I especially find that last sentence very, very interesting. As I talked about in my last Urban Decay video, I mentioned how if they just released another Naked palette, it would probably just be like, yeah, okay, whatever. But by discontinuing the Naked palette, people are like, what are they gonna do that next? That last sentence seems to really be telling that they've been planning this for a while and that this is the new phase that they want to go in. So you can see already from what the palette looks like, the colors that are in this palette, but here's a picture of the palette itself with all 12 of the eyeshadows. I tried to find as clear photos as I possibly could. So I get the whole sexual innuendo thing they're going for with the cherry thing, like a virgin. I don't quite get the death and funeral aspect of the Naked palette. It doesn't quite line up exactly right. But anyway, the shadows that are inside the palette. So Average Everyday People had given the list of the shadows and their descriptions, which really matches up here. So first there's Hotspot, and just looking at it in the palette, it's really hard to tell if it's matte or not. I think it's going to be a satin shade. I actually found a couple of swatches as well from a Twitter user, and the swatches are watermarked. I'm not claiming any of these things as my own. I just thought it would be fun to talk about because I haven't seen anybody talk about this stuff yet on like a wide scale, and I can't believe that this palette has sort of flown under the radar when their pictures are out there. Like everything was just accessible through some kind of crafty Google searches. So When I looked at swatches of Hotspot, it looks like a satin shade. Definitely looks sort of like a creamy off-white shade. It does not look matte to me. It looks kind of typical to some of the shades that Urban Decay has put in other Naked palettes, like in the Naked Heat palette, to use as sort of a brow bone highlight. The next shade is Caution, which in the pan looks like a very similar matte shade that's in the Naked Heat palette, just a very pale, warm brown shade. In the swatch, it does seem to have a little bit more life to it than being a flat matte. But again, don't take my word as gospel. I don't know for certain. I'm pretty sure this is a matte and the swatch just isn't reflecting that properly. The next shade is Bang Bang, which is the Micro Sparkle Pink. Then there is a matte pink brown called Feels, followed by another matte shade. This looks more like a coral to me. This is the shade Juicy. Then there's the shade Turn On, which looks like a pale metallic gold. Ambitious, the deep metallic copper. Then there is Bing, which definitely looks like a cherry shade. This is definitely a matte red. There's Devilish, which is a matte burgundy. Young Love, which is a metallic burgundy. Drunk Dial, which is sort of a reddish copper metallic shade. And Privacy, which is a deep warm brown. So I think overall the color story is really true to cherries. It's very fresh in terms of the sort of pinky tones. It's not terribly unique. Overall, I think this is a beautiful assortment of eyeshadows. It looks like a really good mix between mattes and metallic shades, much like the Naked Heat palette, which is what I think made that palette work so well, is that it was like the best of Urban Decay's formula, which is what this really seems to be as well. It looks pretty promising. It does seem like it would allow you to do what it says on the box, so you could have those soft, subtle, angelic eye looks, and then you can go much deeper and more intense and smokier. And it does seem like there's a good variety there in terms of what they have as matte shades and what they have as like shimmers or metallics. So it does look interesting that way. I will say that this feels a couple of years too late. I feel like this is very similar to Modern Renaissance and the Venus palette from Lime Crime, which kind of started the whole thing. But if this was going to come out around the same time as Modern Renaissance did, I feel like it really would have been competition. Now it feels kind of late. As pretty as it is, like I can't see a flaw in this arrangement. There's not a single thing wrong with the whole cherry scheme. This really sells that very well. It's just in terms of what's out right now in eyeshadows and what's been out for the last couple of years, this doesn't offer anything new. And with the so-called death of the Naked palette, I feel like Urban Decay really had an opportunity there to do something groundbreaking, even just something slightly different. Some people in the comments of my last video had talked about like a Rebirth palette or a Mother Earth, or I had really wanted a Naked Forest palette for a long time with just an assortment of beautiful green tones. I think it really would have shocked and surprised people, but I think it really would have sold because people are really looking for something different and not like something that they already have. As beautiful as Naked Cherry looks, and I just really want to stress that because I do think it looks like a beautiful palette, I definitely will want to buy this whenever it's released, which looks like it could be October-ish. If it's already at retailers, it's going to be soon. And I know there might be somebody being like, well, maybe these aren't legit. Maybe these are fake palettes based off of the trademark, which would be pretty remarkable because this just really screams Urban Decay. And I can't really see how it would differ much from cherries. I don't see them doing anything totally remarkable. Yes, they could have had like greens in there or something for like cherry stems, but it's Urban Decay. This looks like a very Urban Decay palette the way Urban Decay has been for the last few years. And I did find a bill of lading for the shipment of these palettes, the Naked Cherry palettes. It has like batch codes and stuff, so it looks pretty legit. Again, I just did some Google searches and this was all public stuff. I didn't have to do anything I wasn't supposed to do to find this information, but this is what really makes me feel like this is all legit. But I can't say that for certain because I have no ties to Urban Decay or anything else. This is just me talking as a real makeup lover who really wants to talk about this palette, because I feel a little conflicted because I want it, but at the same time I wanted something else. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think about this palette? Do you like it? Do you like the way that this looks? Is this something that you would potentially buy, or is this something that you can already tell you would pass on, and why? Are you down with the warm tones? Do you have enough of shades like this? I'm just really curious, and I just really enjoy talking with people about makeup, as I mentioned before, and I really enjoyed talking to so many people in my conspiracy theories video, so I thought this would be a fun update, and I really wanted to share all this fun stuff with you guys, because doing a little makeup detective stuff has really brought a little sunshine to my life. It's been something that I've really, really enjoyed doing, and I've had so much fun doing it, and this was just a lot of fun for me. I love doing research whenever I can. I even have like my Homer Simpson hands going. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.